Have you ever wondered if that dusty vase in your grandma's attic or that quirky bowl at the thrift store might actually be worth something? Well, you might want to grab a flashlight and take a closer look around. They say one person's junk is another person's treasure, but in this case, the treasure might be hiding in plain sight and worth thousands. From vintage toys that defined a generation, to elegant glassware, quirky clocks, and even kitchen bowls your mom used in the 80s, some of these often overlooked items are now fetching insane prices at auctions and collectors markets. In this video, we're counting down 10 vintage finds that could be worth a fortune. The kind of stuff you might walk right past at a yard sale without even blinking. So if you're the type who loves treasure hunting or just wants to know if you've been sleeping on a gold mine, stick around, because that old junk in your house, it might just change your life. Number 1. Murano Glass. Starting strong at number 1. We've got something that bellies its true value, Murano Glass. If it looks like a swirly, colorful piece of art trapped in a vase, it might just be Murano Glass. Murano Glass hails from Murano, a small island near Venice, Italy, and it's been handcrafted by artisans since the 13th century. What makes Murano valuable? It's all in the craftsmanship. No two pieces are exactly alike. Pieces from the mid-20th century, especially those made by brands like Fanini or designers like Carlo Scarpa, are hot on the collector market. Wondering how to spot one? Just look for labels that say Made in Murano, or subtle etchings at the base. They're usually vibrant, abstract, and feel heavier than cheap glass. But beware of fakes! A genuine Murano piece is almost always hand-blown, meaning it should have small bubbles or irregularities. If you see one sitting lonely at a flea market for $20, snatch it up. You might just be holding a 5-figure work of art. Number 2. Vintage toys. Remember those toys you begged for as a kid and then forgot in the closet? Yeah, some of them are now worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Toys from the 70s, 80s, and 90s have skyrocketed in value. If you find an original Star Wars action figure, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, Transformers, and Barbie dolls still in their original boxes, you have hit the jackpot. Collectors love nostalgia, especially when it comes in mint condition. For instance, a 1978 Luke Skywalker action figure with a double telescoping lightsaber recently sold for $25,000. That's not a typo. Collectors tend to look for toys that still have their original packaging. Those unopened boxes can be gold. Unused or mint condition items fetch the highest prices. And if the toy was part of a limited run or discontinued line, its rarity pushes its value up even further. So check your attic, ask your parents, or even stop by a local thrift store. You might find a forgotten friend worth a small fortune. And hey, maybe next time you get your kid a toy, make sure they don't rip open the packaging. It might be worth a fortune in the next century. Number 3. Mid-century barware. Imagine sipping a cocktail from a sleek gold-rimmed glass while Frank Sinatra plays in the background. That's the charm of mid-century barware. These are glasses, shakers, decanters, and ice buckets from the 1950s to 1970s. Stylish, well-made, and now wildly collectible. Look out for brands like Culver, Libby, and Georges Briard. The good stuff often has 22-karat gold trim or funky graphics like starbursts, owls, or tiki prints. Complete sets are more valuable than individual pieces. A complete set of Culver Valencia glass now sells for prices ranging from $500 to $1,000. Collectors love that Mad Men vibe, and TikTok is helping fuel the demand for retro entertaining pieces. To identify valuable barware, check for beautiful, intricate gold detailing or bold patterns. Pay attention to the weight, because the older glasses are thicker and heavier. Next time you see a dusty set at the thrift store, channel your inner Don Draper and grab it. Let's hope that thrifted glass helps you afford to toast your find with the very expensive truth. Number 4. Baseball cards. Next up, we got baseball cards, America's original collectible. In the right condition, these babies can fetch jaw-dropping prices. Remember that Honus Wagner card that sold for over $6 million? Okay, that's an extreme case, but plenty of 1980s and earlier cards are worth thousands today. If you watched Prison Break, you'd know that stealing the wrong baseball card could very well land you in jail. Just ask Tweener. Here are a few key tips when it comes to valuable vintage baseball cards. First, condition matters. Cards are graded PSA 9 or 10 and are worth the most. If you want to make the most money, rookie cards are king. Find a Mickey Mantle, Derek Jeter, or Ken Griffey Jr. card and you've shot to victory. If it's a limited print, you've struck gold. Even errors can be ultra valuable. Even lesser known players can bring in cash if the card is rare enough or part of a sought after set. To see if your cards are valuable, you should check the year and brand. Topps, Flea, and Don Roos are particularly sought after. You could also use online grading guides to send to PSA for certification. People have found valuable cards in shoe boxes, attic trunks, and flea markets, so don't toss Grandpa's collection until you've checked. Number 5. Vintage concert posters. Back in the day, going to a concert was a whole event, and the posters were just as iconic as the music. Vintage concert posters, especially from the 1960s and 70s, have become high-ticket collectibles. A Jimi Hendrix Fillmore poster could sell for over $7,000 today. Posters by artists like Wes Wilson, Rick Griffin, and Stanley Mouse are especially desirable. The crazier the design, the better. To know if yours is valuable, look for the original printings, not reprints. Check paper quality and any fine print or printer mark. Posters with wear and tear still have value, but mint condition? Jackpot. Even local or regional band posters can have high value if they're rare or linked to a popular venue. So that dusty rolled up paper in your dad's record bin? It might be a collector's dream. Number 6. Equestrian Paintings. You've probably seen them. Stately portraits of horses in gold frames, hanging in old homes or estate sales, and not even spared them a second look. Turns out, equestrian paintings are having a moment. Collectors appreciate them for their elegance, historical context, and rarity. Some even treat them like fine art. Older works, especially signed oil paintings from the 1800s and early 1900s, can fetch big money. Look out for names like Sir Alfred Munnings, John Frederick Herring, or any unsigned but well-rendered vintage work. If you're trying to gauge the value of an equestrian painting, start by checking the medium. Oil on canvas usually carries more weight than prints. Paintings with visible signatures or gallery labels also tend to command higher prices. And interestingly, dynamic scenes of horses in motion or in a race often catch attention of collectors more than static portraits. So if you spot a dramatic equestrian piece at a garage sale, don't dismiss it. It could be the next big auction surprise. Number 7. Vintage candlesticks. They're elegant, timeless, and sometimes light up more than just a dinner table. Vintage candlesticks have proven to be surprisingly valuable. Vintage candlesticks, especially brass, sterling silver, or ornate ceramic types from the 1920s to 1960s, have become popular again for both collectors and home decorators. Look for brands like Gorham, Reed & Barton, or even European imports. Mid-century modern designs and Art Deco shapes are especially hot. A pair of antique Tiffany & Company sterling candlesticks sold for nearly $5,000. To assess value, pay attention to how heavy the candlesticks feel. Solid brass or sterling silver versions tend to be weightier and more substantial. Flip the base to look for any brand stamps or hallmarks, especially if they have a hint at silver content. And remember, pairs typically fetch more than single candlesticks, especially when they feature intricate designs or Art Deco flourishes. Even unbranded ones can be worth something if they're in good condition and stylish. Number 8. Vinyl records. Vinyl recently made a huge comeback, but for collectors, it never really left. While some albums are common and worth only a few bucks, others are holy grails. So, let's talk about what's worth the big money. At first place, we've got first pressings, especially of iconic albums like the Beatles' White Album or Nirvana's Bleach. Rare releases are also big money fetchers. Misprints, band covers, or colored vinyl. Bonus points if it's music from the greats: Prince, David Bowie, Bob Dylan, and rare jazz or punk rock records. A sealed copy of Prince's The Black Album could fetch a good $27,500. When flipping through vinyl records, take a peek at the matrix number etched in the run-out groove. That little detail can help identify valuable first pressing. Unusual covers or special edition releases, especially those with colored vinyl, can significantly raise the price tag. And of course, records that have been kept in pristine mint condition with their original sleeves are collectors' favorites. Thrift stores, estate sales, and garbage bins can be treasure troves. Number 9. Art Deco Clocks. In the 1920s and 30s, people told time with intricately designed timepieces. Art Deco clocks are tiny sculptures that hold more value than the numbers written on their faces. Geometric designs, chrome finishes, bakelite casings. These clocks scream glam and are highly collectible. Brands like Telechron, Seth Thomas, and Bayard are also top tier. French and German designs are also popular. Prices vary, but some have sold for $1,500 or more, especially if fully functional and great shape. Clocks with distinctive sunburst or skyscraper designs are typical of the Art Deco era and can hint at a higher value. It's also worth examining whether the clock still has its original mechanisms, and that authenticity can make a big difference. Even if the clock isn't working, don't count it out. Many collectors buy vintage clocks for parts or restoration projects. If you find a stylish, ticking relic from the Jazz Age, you might just make a killing from its sale. Number 10. Vintage Pyrex bowls. You know those colorful mixing bowls your grandma used? They're called Pyrex, and some patterns are shockingly valuable. Collectors love Pyrex for its durability and nostalgia. Sets with bright patterns from the 1950s to 1970s are the big sellers. To gauge the value of a Pyrex piece, try looking up the pattern name. Designs like Gooseberry or Friendship are especially popular. A Holy Grail? A Lucky in Love pattern bowl. One bowl could be sold for over $4,000. Bright colors like pink and turquoise tend to attract higher bids, particularly in rare or limited edition collections. And if your bowl is free of scratches or fading, even better. The more pristine the piece, the better the price. Even mismatched bowls can be sold in sets, and some collectors trade them like Pokemon cards. So, before you donate your old Pyrex to Goodwill, maybe do a quick eBay search. And we've come to the end of our list. That's 10 vintage finds that might be hiding in your attic, local thrift store, or even your kitchen cabinet, just waiting to surprise you with their value. Remember, the key is to look closer, dig deeper, and don't ignore the weird, dusty, or old-looking stuff. Sometimes, that's exactly where the gold is hiding. And who knows? You might stumble across your own $10,000 treasure at the next garage sale. If you've ever found something valuable by accident, tell us in the comments. And if you love this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. Happy hunting!